Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Covering my DoorDash activities for Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. No comments, no tomfoolery. 4.4. I'm a content creator, not a content moderator. So I already mentioned this last couple videos, but I was just doing a short dash today from 6 to 8:30. My goal was $50, but I'd be okay with anything over 40, and anything less than $40, I was going to have to do some more door dashing after my other gig was over. But anyway, start time 6 o'clock. I waited almost 40 minutes for my first offer. Didn't get anything at all until you see here 6:37, a McDonald's catering order. 1075 hidden tip, just 4.5 miles, 80 items. My first year of dashing, I'm not going to say I got them all the time, but I got quite a few early morning breakfast catering orders. I would get them from, I got several from Jolly Pirate and maybe another. It was mainly Jolly Pirate, but maybe a couple other places that I'm forgetting. So I can't remember the last breakfast catering order. I can't remember when it was, but I went ahead and took this. And so here's the list. It's half of it is hash browns. So you got 40 hash browns, and then the rest of this is all these different sandwiches and no drinks. So I was glad when I took a look at this list and seen there was no drinks. And get to the McDonald's, I had to wait. You see here, there's my wait time, about 14 and a half minutes. I couldn't tell the first 5 to 10 minutes that they were even working on the order at all. It kind of looked like because this was such a large order that I watched the queue where I was at on, my order was top on the queue, and then these other orders next in line, and they were kicking those orders out to customers and kind of like skipping my orders, or so I thought. But like I said, about 8 or 10 minutes into the wait, I finally saw some of my orders. They were working on it that whole time. It took me a while to see it from where I was standing. And I'm surprised the lady spoke to me at all that was working on it, because she was all like frustrated and getting like stressed out is the best way to put it, because they were busy. And she told 2 of her co-workers that tried to ask her about something, I can't. I can't deal with that right now. She was in her zone. And so, a few minutes later, I was surprised that she got out of her zone for a minute and spoke to me. I don't know, it's kind of weird. She's like, "Oh, do you have the DoorDash order?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Did you see how many orders it was?" I was like, "Yeah, I know." And she was like, I hope they gave you a good tip on this." um, it was 8 of the smaller delivery bags. So it worked out. I took in 2 catering bags inside the store, put 4 of those in each catering bag, fit perfectly. Drop this off. And I was willing to wait on that wait time. I was willing to wait about a half hour if need be, because this was delivering just right down the street. And I had a guess that it was going to pay over $20, and it did. So there you see the $2. $2 from DoorDash. Where's it at? There it is right there. Thank you very much, DoorDash. And 1965 tip. So 21.65, delivered that at 7:12. So start to finish, little over a half hour for 21.65. So awesome. Let's see, and then I pretty much stayed busy. It was continuous offers after that, I think. So right away, a minute later, upside down Panera. But I had like over a half hour wait to get my first order. I just have, you see here, 7:13. I just have an hour and 17 minutes left. So I don't have time to be like kind of picky and choosy and cherry picking orders. This is only 2 miles upside down. I went ahead and took it to stay busy. Um, 7 of these 9 miles was interstate, so it really wasn't that bad. Delivered to a apartment complex I've been to several times before. This took 20 minutes. 20 minutes flat for the $7, $4 and a $3 tip. Okay, and then I'm coming back to zone, and at 7:47 I get this IHOP and Chick-fil-A. Now I didn't pay attention. I went ahead and took it. I didn't pay attention on the offer screen that it was the same customer. I didn't realize this until I got to Chick-fil-A. And the IHOP, the only thing about this order was the IHOP contained like a drink carrier with 4 drinks. So that, that kind of sucked a little bit. The Chick-fil-A was just like one breakfast bowl. That was it. So most of the order was from the IHOP. This took 26 minutes to make the 950. So did pretty good there. And once again, $2 from DoorDash, $7.50 from the customer. Thank you very much. Got time for like one more order, and it's going to have to be something that's going to take like around a half hour or less. I wouldn't be able to do something that was going to take an hour here. So I don't know how I did not get the offer screen, but next I got a one item Target order. Okay, so I get to Target, and there it is. It's the only thing to shop for is just a charging cable. So had this shopped in 2 minutes. I was very fortunate that I got back to that area. It was along the back wall in electronics. I was very fortunate there's an associate there, because for 2 days in a row now, I've had yesterday at PetSmart where there was out of place items and stuff on a peg, hanging peg, like blocking my item, and same thing here. So he found the peg that it was supposed to go on, but this time, yesterday there's only one or two things blocking it. Today he grabbed off about this big stack of like 8 or 10 other charging cords that were wrong. I mean, and chances are if he wouldn't have been there, I probably wouldn't have found this. Because it was like I said, 7 or 8 items misplaced on that peg. I would have thought the whole peg was the same thing and wouldn't have seen this. So I was really fortunate that he was there. Okay, and then now we get to subject of the video. I think it was like while I was on my way to the Target. And this is a kind of like a little pro tip here. I've talked about this tip before in a past video, but I ran into a really like a perfect example today to kind of like illustrate this. With the hours that I drive, I only do deliveries on the weekdays during the morning rush traffic. I won't dash from in that 4 to 6 p.m. range, but I will do morning rush. And It's a good idea. Something that I try to always do is from around in my market around 7 to 9 a.m. as much as possible. I try to have the local radio on, and to where they don't. It seems like they never play very much music in those hours anyway. So I'm basically listening to the traffic and weather reports, primarily the traffic. And I was on my way to Target, and let's bring this map over here. Okay, so I heard on the radio that they said the big problem accident in Central Ohio this morning was up here. They said 270 northbound at Roberts Road, which that's where this X is here. And they said that it was backed up clear to Grove City, my zone. So that's all the backup from this accident stretch all the way past 70, all the way past Broad Street, all the way, past Georgia down to here. So here, the red circle, that's where Target is. Okay, now normally to get to this customer, you'd from this location, you jump on 71 North, go to the outer belt, 270, and just go one exit over to that blue circle and get off there. But they were saying that it was backed up probably to at least this intersection. If they said Grove City, I have to assume it's to this intersection and maybe even past it. So I wasn't going to chance that like whatsoever. I'm not having anything to do with that. So I knew because of having the radio turned on that I was going to take city streets instead of the interstate. And it's actually miles wise, it was actually a shorter route anyway, taking the city streets. But if it wasn't for that accident, the interstate would have been faster. But I delivered this at 8:39, so 21 minutes. It could had I not had the radio on and heard that report, this could have been like over a half hour. This could have been 45 minutes for all I knew. So, I mean, that traffic could have been, as far as I knew, could have been backed up and stopped. So, that's, like I said, that's a good tip to have. $8 from DoorDash, and there it is right there. 0 tip from the customer. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And then that was it. So logged off at 8:39, and 5 deliveries, $46.15. So that's close enough. I've just about made my goal. Drove 38 miles. I was at total dash time 2 hours 38 minutes. I was active an hour 45. Of course, most of that downtime was at the beginning. Now at 4,962 deliveries. DoorDash, now while I'm on the approach to 5,000, I'm now each day writing down DoorDash's count for my deliveries. They had me today at 49.96. I don't know what the deal is with the DoorDash count on drivers' deliveries. Yesterday, if you go back and watch yesterday's video, I said the count yesterday was 49.79. I did 5 deliveries today, but they increased my count by 19 deliveries when I did 5. I don't know. Increased my acceptance rate to 53%. And then after this, I went on my other gig, just got home from that. That was kind of like a nightmare, and included a 50 mile drive home after I finished the work. That's why I'm not scheduling that many jobs for that app anymore. Thank you very much. Ridiculous. Guys, I'm tired. I got a headache now after that job. So I'm going to jump off here. That's it for now. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. We've been kind of flatlined the last few days, so let's get a couple more subscribers here. I'd appreciate it very much, and as always, drive safe out there, even especially in rural country roads in the middle of nowhere. Thank you very much. Be careful and safe. We'll see you at the next video. Thanks again.